So here we go. Michigan, Ohio State, and the tap controlled by the Wolverines. What should we pay attention to early? How about that? A jam! A Damara. And that's what came out of it. And Mobley off the mark. Casey, nice rebound. Michigan with numbers. Cups has to hurry. Cups blocked by Mara, out of bounds.
The kind of players to fill out his roster. And speaking about filling out the roster,
Lendeborg again.
And putting a stamp on it.
What a dominant showing by the Michigan Wolverines tonight. I mean, my goodness. I'm going to get into some unique takeaways that I had on the game and Ohio State, and then also what games Michigan has coming up. But, I mean, they did not just beat Ohio State tonight. I mean, they hammered them in a way that tells you something very real about who this Wolverines team is and who they've become. And I just want to say that I think there was a moment, because there was a couple times that Ohio State got scrappy and they took a 6-point lead. A couple of times, and there was a moment, you could see it. I watched the game. You could see where Ohio State thought they were going to steal one. I think they did. I think there was a couple moments in the game that the Buckeyes thought at Crisler Arena against this ranked Michigan basketball team that they were going to get one. Nope. No. The Wolverines bench played. They came back, and the Wolverines took a 74-62 victory over the Buckeyes. And by the time the final horn sounded, it felt like a statement win, not just another victory on the schedule. And it's important because they've got some tough games coming up. I mean, they've got Nebraska. They've got Michigan State, which we're going to cover on the 30th. That's in East Lansing. And so Michigan came into this game as one of the top teams in the country, and they showed it tonight. They were tested. They scored the win in front of the home crowd. And from start to finish, they played with confidence, poise, and the kind of execution that big teams show in big moments. I mean, even when Ohio State did take the lead, it felt artificial to me. Like, I think the Buckeyes thought they were going to win the game, but I don't think Michigan did. You just didn't see that in the play. Ohio State hung around early in part because John Moby Jr. was rolling. I mean, he showed why he's one of their most dangerous scorers. I mean, that kid's a player. But when the Wolverines needed to step on the gas, they did. And I think what stood out most was the way Michigan responded after slipping behind in portions of the first half, because the Buckeyes took a brief lead, as I mentioned, early in the second half, but Michigan answered with an emphatic run. There was an 11-0 surge, as a matter of fact, that kind of took control of the game and set the tone. And once that happened, the Buckeyes didn't, it was over. I mean, it wasn't over. There was still minutes left, but that was basically the end of it. And when a team can do that against a quality opponent in a rivalry matchup, that's not luck. That's discipline. That's identity. I know that Michigan is much higher ranked than Ohio State. I don't think Ohio State's ranked right now, but we all know about rivalry games and how rankings can kind of go out the window in a rivalry game. And Ohio State came to win this game. They really did. They tried. You could see the heart in them. But Michigan's just better. And so I want to talk about the coaching for a moment, though, because Dusty May, I mean, this guy, he has done an amazing job guiding this program. He's brought a level of consistency, physicality, and confidence to Michigan basketball again that we haven't seen in quite some time. This is not a team that cracks under pressure to get lucky. They play their brand of basketball. They pound the paint. They crash the boards. They contest every shot. I mean, they're making plays that when it matters, it counts. And tonight, that was exactly the difference. And speaking of making plays when it counts, I mean, you got to look at how guys like Yaxel Lendeborg contributes. I mean, my word, that kid is a stud. I mean, he had a huge offensive rebound that led directly to a three-pointer, and that kind of swung the momentum back to Michigan at a critical juncture. It was the kind of play that doesn't always make the highlight reel, but basketball people, feel that those are the plays that shift the energy, that make opponents rethink how they're going to go about this. And that little sequence with the offensive rebound turning into a crucial bucket is the perfect encapsulation of who this Michigan team is. They don't just take advantage of breakdowns. We've seen it all season. They force advantages by being the more physical, more aware, more prepared squad. And when a rivalry game gets chippy or momentum swings, and it did tonight, because like I said, the Buckeyes had them twice, they obviously have the depth and maturity to absorb it and respond. And so I want to talk about how dominant this season has been overall, because Michigan isn't just beating Ohio State. They've been steamrolling through opponents with consistency. They recently dismantled Indiana 86-72 and showed the same kind of control throughout that game as well. I mean, during that game, their defense smothered Indiana's offense. And that was another moment that told you that this team is built for big games and big matchups. And you've also got to remember how they've been destroying teams beyond the Big Ten. In the Players Era Championship, which was out in Vegas, Michigan dominated Gonzaga. It was 101-61. It was an insane win. I mean, that's more than just a win. That's two halves of basketball played with purpose and dominance on both ends of the floor. And Lendeborg, the big man for Michigan, led that game with 20 points and 11 rebounds. The Wolverines shot with surgical precision. I mean, that performance wasn't a one-off. It was a preview of the kind of team that this Michigan basketball team is this year. And it's not just one star doing everything either. I mean, yeah, Lendeborg has been huge, but this team has balance. I mean, tonight their bench showed up. They crash boards, they defend the paint, and they share the ball. They do a great job of sharing the ball. I can't tell you how impressed I am by that. I mean, it feels like a complete team. And when you don't have to rely on one guy to bail you out, that's championship level type of stuff. Dusty May has built depth. He's built culture and accountability that shows up when they play. And wins like this Ohio State game, in a rivalry, in Ann Arbor, in front of the home crowd, that's the kind of performance that builds belief. Especially when they were down twice. It tells players in that locker room that you can handle a problem. You can handle some adversity. You can respond to challenges. And you can finish when the spotlight is brightest. I mean, it's Friday night, guys. It's a primetime game. They got it done, even when they were losing. And college athletes feed off of that. And that momentum carries into weeks, months. That's just, it becomes who they are. And so make no mistake, this was a big win. Ohio State is a respected program. And in a rivalry game, anything can happen. But Michigan didn't just win tonight. They controlled this one in a way that felt like a message. And when you combine that with everything else this team has done this season, I think you start to see why folks are talking about Michigan as a legitimate contender, not just in the Big Ten, but on a national stage. They look like a championship team to me. They look physical. And so as this season moves forward, and particularly these upcoming games, because these upcoming games are going to be huge with Nebraska and Michigan State, it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on how this unfolds, because they've got the coaching, they've got the depth, they've got the talent, and now they've got some very serious signature wins to match. And you need those. You need those in season. And when you pound a rival like Ohio State at home on your terms, I mean, they just sucked the life out of them, honestly. I mean, it literally. That Buckeye team, that bench looked like we got them. No. I mean, it just sucked the air right out of the Ohio State Buckeyes tonight. And so when you get these types of wins like this, that's something special. And for Michigan basketball this year, I'm going to tell you something. It's a very special ride so far. Thanks for tuning in tonight. You're listening to Midnight Sports Detroit.